My name is Julie Poulsen. I'm an artist and I live in Cairns, North Queensland. My studio is at Koara Beach, which is about 20 kilometres north of Cairns. My art practice is predominantly painting, but I generally start with a drawing before I move into paint. I do like to experiment, and I'm very keen on using mixed media in amongst the paint. I use house paint, and most of my work is non-easel. Mostly I work on the floor, and a lot of the actual artworks are sections sewed together to create an assemblage of pieces. I like to muck things up a bit with different mediums, like move into a bit of cardboard, which is a nice way of exploring different surfaces and uncomplicated materials that don't need to be taken so seriously. And the last show that we had, which was a 6-fold group show, I made a series of bags. I had so many remnants of old paintings or sections of paintings from when I used to chop my artworks up and join them together, which I still do, but this is over since, 20 odd years now, 22 years of collecting pieces of canvas. I decided I needed to find a way to use them rather than to just throw them away. So I began the cycle of combining sections together. I rinse the canvas in vinegar to begin with, just to make sure that it's going to be stable and not crack off or wash off. And the canvases are amazingly tough. So I use the different remnants, and I put other sections and bits of calico and dyed calico in amongst them, or pieces of velvet to trim the work, to make a series of bags from these old bits and pieces of canvas. Going through them, I can tell you a few things about them. This one's from the Jelly Baby series, and that was a whole series of aeroplane jelly paintings. This was during COVID, and I started looking at the numbers of COVID cases. This little guy here is another James Cook Drive painting, and I think there's a goat there, and there's some more curlews, but this is quite an old James Cook Drive painting. Another aeroplane jelly painting here, made into a bag, different sections. This little guy is anthills. So that was the road to, and this would be the trees, sections of the trees, and this was a wood block print that I printed onto the canvas. And once again, if I turn it that way, we can see the wood block, the wood block, but also the ant hills in amongst the trees there. This one here is my grandmother left me her sewing table, and I did a whole series on my grandmother's sewing table. So this is the, what are they called? Not bobbins, cotton reels. So that's quite a simple little one, just with a little bit of colour there. But on the back, we've got scissors and the box and different bits and pieces that came out of the actual drawers. I still have the drawers. They still have everything in them that was that she left in there. And this little one here, this one here was from my life drawing class, and you can just see one figure here, and on the back there's a blue figure standing there drawing at an easel. there's the different design. I am going to start doing some different designs as well, but this is another design which is a smaller bag, and it has a beautiful, I really enjoy that bit of printed spotty bias which goes around the edge here. I do have a seamstress make them because that's so time consuming. I don't have the actual time to do it myself, and I struggle with sewing. So this is the last one I'll show you, which is part of an old menu board. It's the rough side of the menu board. You can't really see any letters there, but it's probably from 2004, that one there. And probably that's all I can say about that. There are I use different webbing or hand sewn straps, depending on what I feel is going to work with the particular design on the bag. These are some of my smaller artworks on the wall here. And I live in James Cook Drive, Kawara Beach. And these have all generated from James Cook Drive because we have goats walking around. I have my son's dogs, which sit and look at the goats and look at the birds and never attack. Jimmy's often on guard, and he likes to make sure that the kangaroos and the wallabies are all right. And then, of course, we have the curlews, which are a very important stable of bird life in far north Queensland. I have a technique where I sometimes wash my canvases in between layers and scour it back with scourers, multiple layers, hence the rough texture, but they are very strong and tough. I don't know whether anyone has ever had a little touch of them, but they are really quite tough, and I don't really mind if people like to have a small feel of the actual surface of the canvas. I have taught for many, many years, since 91, and for a lot of that time I taught at TAFE, which was fantastic, and then I did a little bit at university, teaching at university, and now I only have one ongoing private session, which is at Oxlade's in Cairns, which is wonderful. I have a group who have been coming to me now for maybe 10 years, on and off, different new people moving in and out. I've had a lot of exhibitions around Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, of course Cairns. Favourite venues over the years would be Depot Gallery in Sydney, which was wonderful, and also exhibiting at the Sydney Contemporary Art Fair was also a very stimulating event. I've had quite a few shows or group shows with the original Kick Arts group. I'm one of the founding members of Kick Arts, which I feel very proud of. I think it's been a most amazing collective, and it's wonderful to see how far it's gone and how it's developed into a much more, how do I say it, eclectic group of different artists, and also I think it was a very visionary beginning for a contemporary art group in far north Queensland. In those days there was only a very small amount of contemporary artists, and now of course it's developed into an amazing place, which is an exciting, vibrant environment for a very diverse range of artists, and it's so nice to be part of that ongoing, changing, developing, and just very nice to be inclusive and included in this group.